Welcome to Belize. In this video, we're going to walk you through our daily itinerary. We're going to highlight the must-visit spots like the iconic Barrier Reef. We got charming local restaurants, Mayan Ruins, cave tubing, where we stayed with its own private beach, and of course, picturesque sunsets. Our trip started as we flew from Saskatchewan to Belize City. Our trip to Belize started out very early. I believe we were up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning in the cab. On the way to the airport, we had to fly from Saskatchewan to Belize. I believe there was a layover in Calgary on our way down there. It was about a 7-hour flight, I think, from up here in Canada. So once we arrived in Belize, we were at the Belize City Airport and we had to get through customs, which took a long time to get through. So there is like a paper they give you to fill out, and WestJet had made the mistake of telling us that the paper was one per family, but it was actually one per person. So the customs line took a lot longer than it should have because every family was rushing because they were behind on their paperwork. Once we made it through customs, we had to get to the other side where, I don't know what you call it, like the little airport is. So when we were going, we were going from Belize City to San Pedro. Cheers to holidays. To get to the island, you had to either go by ferry, which I believe is 1.5 hours on the boat, or you can go on a charter plane, and I believe it was about a 15-20 minute flight. The little airplane fit the three of us in the back, so me and the two kids, and then Derek sat up in a bucket seat in front of us, and I believe there was another person beside him, maybe three more in front of that, and a person beside the pilot. So they did offer for somebody to sit up there, which would have been pretty cool. So I think there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of us or so on the little plane.
Alright guys, we're next for takeoff. Brief reminder once again, I hit a seatbelt fasten for takeoff. Thank you.
And after getting through the customs, we were actually late for our booked charter flight, but in Belize, they don't leave anybody behind. So they at least waited for us and just put us on a different flight. There was constant flights out of there on the little charter planes. So if we had been that late, we might not have made the ferry. So just an FYI, if you're thinking and you're getting a little bit later at night, there is last times for leaving on the ferry with the flights. They kind of flew till everybody was out of the airport. And as you could tell, the airport would just get less and less people as the evening went on. So San Pedro is all golf carts on this island. And we had pre-booked a golf cart. So when we got off the airplane, we had told the guy what time we would land. We kind of kept in touch, telling him we were behind leaving the airport. And he said, no problem. And they had somebody meet us outside the airport when we came out, hopped in the golf cart. He had a different golf cart. We followed him over, we paid, and then we were on our way to our hotel. Use Google Maps on the island and it seemed to work pretty good to get over to where we were staying for the week. It was dark, but everything is quite well lit. The streets are pretty good. There is big pedestrian crossings, so they do slow traffic down a little bit. Anyways, we found our hotel, no problem. It was great. So we got to our hotel, the Mahogany Bay. Checked into our room, and then because we were super hungry, we went back for supper at the hotel. It was Addison's birthday, so when we went for supper, we told them, and they were so sweet. They sang her happy birthday. They brought her out an awesome chocolate brownie. So chocolate brownies in this place are amazing, first of all, just so you know. But they were so sweet. They brought her out a chocolate brownie, and they sang her happy birthday. I felt so bad the poor kid had to spend her whole day on a plane, but you get to spend it in paradise for 5 days, so how can you complain? So day one in San Pedro wasn't quite in San Pedro. It was from San Pedro to the mainland and back. We wake up early and we head over to the little coffee shop on the Mahogany Bay Resort, and we get a coffee and a brownie for breakfast because they're so freaking delicious. And then we were back onto the charter plane. Okay, I want to back up for a second because we were originally going to stay in Belize City when we landed. instead of going to the island and back. But the hotel we had originally booked with was a choice hotel. I want to say it was a Ramada. I can't remember. But the hotel changed ownership and it didn't tell us. And for some reason, I got a funny feeling about 5 days before we left that I didn't have a reservation anymore. And I was correct. So thank goodness I looked into it. And we were no longer reserved in downtown Belize City on the hotel. So I had to change plans. I had to get a hold of Mahogany Bay and add an extra day to our trip. And I had to add the charter flights to and back. So I added quite a few hundreds of dollars from this hotel canceling. But I just was whatever. At least we weren't stuck in a city with nowhere to stay. So we got up, we took the charter flight back over to Belize City. Like, thank goodness they're only 15-20 minute flights and not an hour and a half ferry back and forth. So we landed at a different airport. Now we're at a smaller airport, not the main one, kind of outside the city. And we booked a trip with Viator to do the Mayan Ruins, Altun, and cave tubing. We did have a little bit of troubles as we sat at the airport. We waited a really long time and we could not figure out where our guide was or what was happening. We almost felt like we were gonna get not to go on the trip. Some guy showed up and took us on the tour, and we ended up being the only ones on the tour. So it was literally like a private tour for the 4 of us, which was freaking awesome. So it worked out in our favor. So he had, I believe, an SUV. So it wasn't like a big van like I was thinking we were gonna have to go in with a bunch of people. So we got in his vehicle. He drove us out to Altun. Oh, mistake. Don't make this mistake. I misread the Viator paperwork, and it says that you need to make sure that you have cash to get into the park. Thank goodness our tour guide had extra cash, because I'm sure this is not the first time it happened. But he paid for us to get into the park. So we got into the park, we got to hike the Mayan Ruins, we went up on them. They were very beautiful, crazy things people can build. And they toured us around the park and told us history.
Where did he get his mom?
Plaza A was more of a civic center. People would come in and put their stalls here. Line them up. You might have something I want. They built a room, and in that room...
Are you strangers?
Yep.
So guys, before we move on, let's look at a little bit of church. Ones that we just met. This was built by archaeologists. They were not good archaeologists.
And then we went off to an authentic Belizean lunch. The lunch was phenomenal. It was crazy good. The plantain was so delicious. This place, you wouldn't even tell is a restaurant. It's like off the highway, you wouldn't even know. And it is so cute in there, and the food was so good. And that's what I like about trips like this, is they take you off the beaten path to try food you would normally not eat. After lunch, we were off to the cave tubing. So our tour was a little bit different. I think there was people that were there from cruise ships, and they would do a different tour. I think they had to carry their own tubes and stuff like that. We didn't have to carry tubes. He gave us a little jungle tour, went over some awesome plants and stuff as we walked. And then our tubes were down at the river where the cave opening was, and they were like tied together for us to hop into that. Maybe we had to carry our tubes for a few minutes. I think we had to carry them just down a slight little hill, but they were like already into the jungle quite a ways. And then he tied them together and we got them, and a fish bit me in the butt. Ouch.
What are you doing?
Something got my butt.
That's the Belizean piranhas, guys. They're dry skin. Your dry skin.
There's fish there. They bit my ass.
Your dry skin actually reflects on the water, and they'll come in and take.
So that hurt, and then we were off on our tour.
So that's one of the reasons why I'm using black tubes, right? Because I gotta move you guys around so you don't crash into no wall. Welcome to the underworld, or place of terror. Now guys, as you can see, if you look at the top, the spikes that you see above, those are called stalactites. Now we do have some stalagmites as well. Alright? We're gonna see those as well. Now guys, I'm gonna tell you when to turn on your lights. For now, let's just enjoy the float down. Now this is a place of terror. According to the Mayans, the place of terror means that they will come in here to fight spiritually.
It was really, really beautiful and really, really neat to go through the cave and see, I think what they're called, what are those things on the top of the cave called?
Stalactites.
There was also a waterfall in there. There was like weird little holes where the water would, when it fills up in there, it would spin and create little holes in the roof. There was bats in there. It was really, really cool to go through. And then on the other side, we floated down the river for a while, which was super beautiful. The turquoise light water. The water was shallow, it wasn't super deep. Came back to the beginning where we started crossing the rivers, and that was the end of our tour doing that. And he drove us back to the airport so we could charter back on over to San Pedro, Belize. Actually, that was not the end of our tour. I forgot I owed the guy money because he paid to get me into the park. So we went and stopped and picked up a drink for the road and some snacks, and we headed into town to find a bank. And I had trouble with my debit card as usual, and I ended up having to take credit or cash out on my credit card, which is slightly annoying. So please don't forget to take your cash on the tour. Okay, now back over to San Pedro. It is time for a room tour. We're gonna start in the bathroom because the bathroom probably was my favorite place in this room because it was so cute. Double sinks and an amazing shower, which I'm going to save to the end to show you because it is so cute. So we got the 2 queen beds, and as you come around, there is like a kitchenette area, and then there's a desk there with 2 chairs, and then there's a little island. There's a thing that pops up to make the island bigger. There's lots of shelving and storage. There was a fridge and a sink. There was no microwave or cooking thing in there. Then there was a bench, but the best part was the shower. It was so big, and it had like a rain shower head, and it had like tin walls with a teak wood floor. It was so cute. We did have a covered front porch, which was screened in with seating outside and stuff, so we spent a lot of time out there too. let's take a tour of Mahogany Bay Resort and Beach Club. So this is a Hilton property, and Hiltons will allow you, if you sign up for 5 nights, you pay for 4 nights and you get the 5th night free. This hotel is amazing. Huge beach vibes. You walk up a big deck as you walk into a grand room, and on the left there was a guy playing a piano on the first night when we arrived, and on the right is the front desk. And behind the desk kind of is a big staircase upstairs to a whole bunch more rooms. And if you had gone straight when you came in the door, there was a dining hall, and then off to the left of the bar there you head out to the patio. They have a big pool out there, and they are on a lagoon. So the pool is a deep pool. I think there is one deep end, and there is a little bar out there. There's a restaurant out there. There's change rooms out there. There's a fitness center, I believe, over there. There's like little cabana thingies, I think, that you could have booked or rented that had like big round chairs in them. And then off the one side, you would walk down to the lagoon where the boats take you to a private beach. Day 2 is private beach day. We are going to lay on the beach. It is recommended at the front desk to sign up for times to go to the private beach. We booked our time, I believe, for about 9:30. So we headed down there and got in line. Like I said, there was a lot of people there in line, and we wanted to be on one of the first boats. I think we were the second boat to leave. And it's about a 15-20 minute boat ride. You go kind of slow through the mangroves because they have to be very careful that the waves don't wreck the mangrove. And then you head out onto the ocean. So we head out onto the ocean and we go out there a little ways, and then all of a sudden you come around. It's kind of like a little bay or cove, and you can see the mahogany sign out in front of it. And we pull up there, and it is beautiful, shallow water, calm waters in there. We are on the Mahogany Bay Resort private beach. So there's a beach, beds, cabanas, and then there's also a restaurant and bar on the beach. They bring you out on boats from Mahogany Bay, so it's like a 15-minute boat ride to here, and then you just charge your room. And there's a bunch of stuff that's free to like paddle boards and kayaks and stuff like that. The beds you do have to pay for out on the water, and they're kind of like a first come first serve basis. There's hammocks in the water, there's cabanas out on the water. Like, this place was picturesque. Like, this is what you see in paradise. This is paradise. The view from up top was, it was so breathtaking. We ended up having lunch up there and chilling and just getting out of the sun for a little bit, because we didn't make it into the cabana on our first day there. We got little folding lounge chairs and we sat just in the edge of the water, which was really nice, and we hung out there most of the day. I can tell you, I can't get over how clear this water was, and the ripples in the sand were so cool, and it made it easier to do stuff on the paddle boards because it wasn't rocky ocean water coming in. It was a really nice wave coming in, so the kids found that fun to go out there and rip around on the little paddle boards. And they had like picnic tables out there and stuff like that, so you could go sit out in the water quite a ways and people could paddleboard or kayak out to you. After an afternoon in the sun, we came back. We had bought some drinks and snacks from a local grocery store and stocked our fridge. And we came back and we brought a card game with us, and we would sit and chill and play a card game for a little while to relax. And then we would head out for supper a little bit later into the town. This night we went to more of, I would say, a party spot kind of in the downtown to, I believe it was called Maxie's. It was a real lively place. It had loud music and it had the lights and the atmosphere was crazy, and I had a burger and it was delicious. So I highly recommend this place. The drinks were there were really good too. I think one of my favorite parts is driving around at night, watching the lights light up the palm trees and the way the lights are strung out across places. It gives such a crazy night vibe, but it's like so calming, but so fun at the same time. So day 3, we decided we would head off to the other side of the island. So San Pedro isn't a super large island. You can get across the golf cart within like an hour. And like I said, the whole place is golf carts driving around. So we thought we would take off to the other side and go see Secret Beach. This side is more of where you would go in the water, because the side that we were kind of on, or what I don't even know if it was like north or south or what side, but one side it was kind of like rocky and you didn't really go out in the water. And then there was a side that was a little bit more wavy and sandy, and that's where you would go out in the water. And that's what Secret Beach was. Like, you could sit out in the water there and have lunch and have things served to you. The water was so teal, it was amazing when we were over there. But the day we went, it was windy. Okay, let me say, the week we went to Belize, for some reason it was like a cold front. So it only got to plus 25 degrees Celsius. And it wasn't like the sun, don't get me wrong, I did burn in the sun, but it wasn't super hot. And every time we were in the shade, I ended up having to put a sweater on. So just an FYI, 25 degrees in Belize, it can be chilly in the shade.
Chilly and cold. So we didn't stay there very long. So we hung out for a few hours, had some drinks, wandered the beach a bit, and then we drove back and we found a really cute lunch place called the Truck Stop about halfway.
So we decided we're gonna go catch lunch somewhere else. On our drive to Secret Beach, we went through so many different little neighborhoods and by so many different restaurants that looked so good. So we decided we would go back and find one of those to stop at, and we found what they called the Truck Stop. This little truck stop was so amazing. It had so many things going on in it, and you couldn't really see it from the road. When you saw it from the road, it looked like a bunch of containers, like sea cans, but each sea can was a different restaurant. So there was tacos, there was pizza, there was ice cream. I think there was a couple of other things in there too, a place to maybe get drinks. And so we pulled over in there, and you walk past the first one, and then as you kind of come around the corner, you can see everything. And so we ordered some tacos, we ordered pizza, and as you went down the little wood path, the next thing you know, there's a pool. And then you can walk out to the lagoon, and you can see out across the lagoon. And then behind that, there was like a sports bar, and they have, I guess, all sorts of sports on the show there. And then there's another lagoon spots, and there's games to play, and I think there was maybe like a pool table or something. Like, this place was really, really cool and really, really surprising, because like when you first drove past it, you wouldn't really thought all that was behind there. So that is like the crazy thing about stopping at somewhere you wouldn't suspect, and then it turns into somewhere phenomenal. And the food was great. The tacos were great, and we ended up getting more food while we were there. After our little adventure over to Secret Beach, we headed back to our hotel, and we went and sat around the pool and got ourselves some coffee and chilled with some iguanas. And then we decided for our evening supper, we would venture over to the Blue Water Grill. The Blue Water Grill was located across from the little charter airport in San Pedro. It is in like a hotel, so it's kind of weird. Like, it's on the back side on the beach, and you walk through the front of the hotel and you go through the grounds, and then it's behind there. I think other people were coming from their hotels along the beach and getting in line, but that's how we went through. So Derek and the kids don't eat seafood. I eat seafood. But I got them to try deep fried conch as their appetizer, and that was different. That was very chewy. It was very chewy. But it was good, but it was chewy. They did a great job at deep frying it or whatever, breading it that they do. And then, of course, I had sushi, because sushi is a must. And anywhere that I can get it that has fresh fish, I'm totally in. Day number 4. We decided we're going back to private beach. So we went back to the Mahogany Bay's private beach. This time we made sure we were on the first boat, and we got ourselves a cabana out on the water to sit in and chill for the day and just relax. We've been pretty busy, and we decided that we needed a day to kind of just chill, which one child was happy with. The other child thought it was boring. So this is when we learned that we can't take just a week holiday on the beach with 2 teenage kids. But let me tell you, we enjoyed the service. Like I said, this was charged to your room, so everything you ordered, you didn't have to take your wallet with you, and they would just charge it to your room number. So the cabana rental was charged to the room. We had food and drinks brought out to the cabana, and we just lived in luxury for the day out there in the cabana. Like, this is like oh, this was paradise. This place just gets me every time. The pictures on the internet, like, this makes you want to come to this resort. So after a day of chilling in a cabana, we decided we would head back to our resort and catch a sunset. And I am so happy we did. This is probably one of my favorite pictures and moments from this trip, is sitting on the deck or like the patio along the lagoon and watching the sun, the colors of the sun just coming down over the water, like, and the reflection in the water. Oh, it just blows my mind, that the beauty of it. It was very, very beautiful and definitely worth the wait. Day number 5, our last day in San Pedro, is an adventure. So the day started off with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because we had to get up early. And thank goodness we were on the road early, because I took us in the wrong direction with Google. I just took us to the wrong place for the pickup. I should learn that via tour sends you a message with the right directions. Now we are 25 minutes in the wrong direction. Thankfully, we are ahead of time. The tour is called Hol Chan Snorkelling and Shark Alley Tour, or something like that. I'll put it here. So they took us out on a boat. We had, I don't know, a bunch of boys with us that were from, I believe, Germany or something. They were doing some sort of army telecommunication stuff or something somewhere in Belize. And then they were on the tour with us, and there was us 4, and we headed out there. Oh, and there's 2 other people, I think, with us, another couple. And our guide was super patient with us, thankfully, because we were a mess when we realized our masks weren't being able to be used, and then we had to put our life jackets on. But he was awesome. And unfortunately, the GoPro somehow got in speed up mode, so a whole bunch of my videos are like really fast, but I did get to catch some pretty amazing videos. So we had brought our own snorkeling gear with us on this tour. And one thing we didn't know was that you're supposed to burn off the plastic inside your mask. The guy said we had purchased really good snorkeling gear for the price we did. He said, but unfortunately, what's going to happen when you get underwater is going to be all foggy. So I should have told him before we had left so he could have burnt it off for us. But we were on the boat, so we ended up having to use somebody else's goggles while we were in the water, which was unfortunate. But you got to do what you got to do. This was an adventure we've been waiting all week for, and it did not disappoint one bit. The kids did get a little chilly in the water. We did put little life vests around us because I didn't feel confident, neither did they, being out on the ocean. But other people didn't have them on. But it wasn't like super deep water, but obviously at parts there was like a canyon in the ground that we like snorkeled over. So this is the Great Barrier Reef, and this is why Belize waters are shallow and there's not a whole bunch of waves coming in on this side, because the Barrier Reef breaks the waves. So you go snorkeling around for, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that, and you get to go by the coral. He makes very sure to tell you not to touch the coral. And so you start in the shallow grassy water, and you go out, and then there's like a canyon, and you go over the coral, and you can see stingrays. We've seen a barracuda, but I think my video was ruined of that, and all sorts of school of fish. And then you head back to the boat, and then he takes you over to, I guess what you would call the Shark Alley. This is where they take you and you get to swim with the sharks. These aren't super huge sharks. I want to say they were maybe called nurse sharks, but they feed the sharks off the side of the boat. So they feed them off one side of the boat, you hop in on the other side into the water, and then you can swim around with them. My kids didn't get off. They were not swimming with the sharks. I hopped in just to say I could hop in. So I hopped in, I swam around the back of the boat. I did a little bit of GoProing, and then I hopped back out and I left Derek in the water with the GoPro. I was frozen by this point, same with the kids. And I did not want to get bit by a shark because I know I'd probably be pretty tasty. So I left him in the water with them, and he got some phenomenal shots. He even got a picture of our one dive guy hanging out and playing with the stingray. It was crazy, crazy beautiful. Highly recommend this tour, 100%. After that, we decided that we were starving, and there was a place right when we came off the dock from their boat, and we sat down. I think it was called like Lily's Treasure or something, and we had what I'm told is probably one of the best foods, flapjacks. Is that correct? Flapjacks. Deep fried breakfast, doughy thing, super good. We had pancakes. We had fresh fruit. It was so delicious, and it was right by the San Pedro sign, so of course we walked over and got a picture with the big San Pedro sign. We're hanging out on the island and enjoying everything it had to offer for the whole week, like the paradise, the teal waters, the marine life, the people, everything. It was crazy awesome. And to finish off our trip, we went over to an Argentine restaurant, and it was just down the street from the Mahogany Bay. And I tried a double dirty martini for my first time. Not sure I should have done the double dirty. The food here was to die for as well. It was so good. It was like I had some sort of pesto pasta with seafood in it, and it was all sorts of seafood. It was so good. And there was live music, and the atmosphere was so calming, and the place was so cute and beautiful inside there. It was a perfect way to end our trip in San Pedro. But our adventures didn't stop there. We had one more stop on our way back to Saskatchewan.